Hey, Jordan here. If you are interested in healing your relationship to money, this video is for you. And while this is no financial advice and I'm no millionaire, I have abused money in the past, learned a lot of things that I wish I hadn't learned earlier. Maybe I can give you some perspective and insights that you may find interesting. So I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly sides of money. Start with the good. I see money as an energetic tool that can be used in a lot of different ways. The same way that a hammer can be used to build something awesome, when used correctly, you can also hit yourself in the head with it, and it can cause a lot of damage. And the same thing can be said with money. So the good side of money, and everything in this world is a reflection of yourself. Just state that. All my teachings, everything I do and work with, it's all coming from the place of this world is your creation. It is your projection from your own mind, and it is all here for you. So money falls into that category. And as an energetic tool, you're here to learn how to be responsible and disciplined with money. And so, there's going to be lessons. There's going to be things that you can use money as a way to grow. I thought it was funny when I started this video, a squirrel was yelling at me incessantly at the tree. I think he moved on now, but when I first came to sit down, he was just yelling at me. And squirrel medicine is all about preparedness. It's all about getting ready for the winter. And this is the good side of money. When you are responsible and disciplined with money and you are able to save it and create a stash for the winter time, for when you don't have money, like the same way a squirrel does, you are ready for the down times when you can use, it's like a battery. You charge the battery that this is your money. You can have a stash of money, you can save it, and it's like a battery. And then when you need to dip into that stash, it'll slowly, the battery will go down, your funds will go down. And if you thought with enough foresight and you were able to save some money and think about the times that were coming that you didn't have money, you are ready, you are prepared. And so when thinking about money in that sense, it can be a motivating factor for you to get your act together. And it's something that is almost a necessary evil in this day and age. Like, you need money. If you're watching this on a phone or computer, you got to pay for the cable bill, you got to pay for the phone bill, you got to pay for the phone, you got to pay for your food, you got to pay for rent. Like, it's just part of the game that we're playing in. And somewhere in the future, I could see money going away because it is very possessive. It's very kind of lower frequency kind of vibration. When we come together as a collective more, we'll actually support each other in more ways, and we won't use money. That is just my intuition kind of tells me that we're gonna eventually get back to that place. But for right now, it's part of the game. So that is the good. It is a tool that you can use. You can invest it into yourself. You can buy material items. You can buy services. You can buy experiences. You can use it as a way to grow. And Mr. Squirrel up there agrees. let's talk about the good, the bad, the bad side of money. And this is when I was in my early 20s. I got a credit card with a $10,000 limit and racked that up way too quick. Not knowing really what I was getting myself into, I abused my money. This was the bad side. I went on trips, bought things, bought cars, bought clothes, things that I really didn't need. Nice to have, good experience and everything, but it was a way for me to get dopamine. I later figured this out. I heard Dr. Gerbamate talk about this. When he was a doctor, he would go shopping for eclectic cassettes back in the 90s and spend thousands of dollars on these cassettes, and he would get a rush. He'd get a dopamine rush from buying and searching for these hard to find music cassettes. And while he had the money to pay for it, and it was just kind of a waste of time for him, for me, I didn't have the money. I was just getting my foot into adulthood and racked up a bunch of debt that eventually I had to become very disciplined and work multiple jobs to pay off all this money that I had accrued that I owed. So that was a lesson in not being prepared. It was the upside down squirrel. I just kind of put the money before the work, and that is something that I learned is not the way to do it. You put the work in first, and then you get the money, and then you enjoy the rewards. And so, in this sense, healing your relationship to money, when you're using money to escape, to get a dopamine rush, to buy things, to go shopping, to just kind of distract yourself from what you should be focusing on, that is the bad side. And to fix that, you start working on your evolution, your self-actualization. You start investing in yourself by watching videos like this, other people that are sharing their growth experiences, and you lean into what it's going to take to get to where you need to go. So that is the bad side of money. You can use money as an escape that will come back and bite you in the ass. And now the good, the bad, and the ugly. The ugly side of money is when we actually identify ourselves with how much money we make, which is kind of insane if you stop and think about it. You're not taking any of this money with you. So to be completely motivated by something that is going to disappear at the end of your life, it's kind of insane. And when you break down what money actually is, money inherently has no value. It is not tied to gold anymore. It is just ones and zeros in a computer that we happen to collectively agree that it's important. But if the whole grid gets shut down and you have $1 million cash, it's about as worth, what can you do with it? You can burn it for firewood. It's a good kindling. When the world shuts down, that's all that you're left with. And I've worked with people, speaking of this ugly, in my holistic health coaching, I've worked with people that have more money than they could spend, and they were miserable. They were completely identified with how much money they had, how much money they can make, not losing their money. Money was their God. and their health suffered, their relationships suffered. They had a big house, nice cars, and that was about it. They had a lot of work to do on the inside that they would rather not do. They were the few clients that I had that had that much money were really difficult to work with. They didn't really want to do any of the work. They just wanted to throw money at the problem and expect it to solve itself. And you can look at other examples in our culture, like Steve Jobs comes to mind. He had billions of dollars, and because he neglected his health, his mental health, emotional health, he developed cancer and was unable to fix it with all the billions of dollars he had. He had unlimited resources, and all that money didn't help him one bit. So the ugly side of money is when you make it the most important thing in your life, when there are things that are way more important than money. Your relationship to yourself and to others, your health, your time. There's a lot of things that should come before money. And we can get lost and identified with money to the point where we make that our God. We worship that to the point where we lose our health and we lose our relationships. And that's not a good place to be. That is definitely abusing another form of abuse that you can use with money. And so to heal that, again, it comes back to you. This is all your creation. This is your dream. So you have to come back to yourself, come back to yourself, come back to yourself again and again, as long as it takes, until you remember who you are and you remember what is actually important. When you take some time to look around and see that, yeah, money is great, but there's a lot of different forms of abundance. You can have no money and have a much more abundant life than somebody with a bunch of cash. Abundance can come in the form of being offered a place to live for free, for exchange for some kind of easy job that you can do to help somebody out. You can live in abundance in your friendships and your relationships and use that as a form of abundance. And even to be prosperous in this world, you don't necessarily need a lot of money. You can help people in more ways than just money. So to be prosperous really means that you have a healthy relationship with money. Like in nature, you never see any animal accumulate so much that they just have this giant pile of stuff that they keep from everybody else. Like, yeah, like the squirrel, he's prepared, he has his own little stash. That's one thing, but there's no billionaire squirrels that have more nuts than they can ever eat in their entire life, just hidden away, guarded behind other squirrels. Like, they don't get that crazy. That'd be funny to see. But, or a lion, for example, doesn't have a million carcasses. Like, nature comes in and cleans that stuff up. Like, you're not just gonna continue hoarding to the point where you have this insane stockpile. So you can trust that you're gonna get what you need, especially when you're putting in the work, when you're trying. And maybe you have to go through some periods of abusing money like I did. Maybe you have to worship money for a little bit to realize that it's not that the most important thing in life. And this is how we grow. This is how we develop a good relationship, is learn what a bad relationship is to money. And that goes for anything in your life, any aspect that you dive into. It's all the same root. It's all your relationship to yourself. And yourself, I mean the capital S self, the self that is all of us, the self that includes you and the collective. What is it? What can you do that's going to help everybody around you, and including yourself? So that was the good, the bad, and the ugly on money. I hope you got some good insights. If you're interested in a consultation, check out my website. Otherwise, I love you. Have a great day. Ciao.